Hello, I want to welcome everyone to the Power of Our Story. We are a place of safety for our protectors to process the journey with others that get it. Please don't waste your years suffering in silence. You can reach out to us on the Power of Our Story and meet our amazing community that cares about you and understands. So tonight, I want to welcome our guest, Kendal Hutchason, otherwise known as Hutch. And he writes this, as a U.S. Army veteran of 9 years and prior fireman with CalFire for 5 years, I want to introduce myself and my goal with my intentions. My goal is to help every veteran thrive, live a successful military or civilian life, and achieve their personal, professional, and family goals by navigating them through substance abuse, treatment benefits, and services. I want to help remove any barriers they may have encountered during their journey to being free from substances and progressing through any mental health conditions. My position at FSR, which is First Stops Recovery, is to help veterans identify and access benefits and services available to them and works to remove any barriers to successful treatment that they may be seeking to encounter during or after military service. I want to help these veterans who are sick and suffering from PTSD, depression, and substance abuse and or any other conditions that are holding them back from having a healthy life and to live a fulfilling life once again. Help me help veterans. They deserve all the help, support, and opportunities that we can provide for them. And Hutch, we agree on this call. I just want to welcome you. I want to thank you for coming on, sharing your story. And after you're done, we'll have a group discussion. So welcome, Kendal. Welcome, Hutch, I should say.
I appreciate it. Thank you. So, I mean, that pretty much sums up who I am work-wise. Yeah, I served in the Army as a combat medic for 9 years. And shortly after that, I got out, became a financial planner, and I didn't find any joy or happiness in that. I actually felt like I was stealing money from people and not doing anything that was productive like I was when I was in the Army as a medic. And so transferred over, became a fireman, and I felt that success. But at that same time, I saw through friends of mine, family, and even leaders that had prior military and in the fire service struggling with mental health and substance abuse problems, and hearing the stories of grabbing a loaded gun, driving up to a hill, wanting to take their lives, or thinking about something to just get out of the world from all the things that they've seen and experienced. And all of us treat mental health and our traumas differently. We grasp onto them differently, and some of us tend to turn over substance abuse, or instantly go to wanting to take our lives. And part of me, like when I got out of the military, I remember wondering, what's my purpose? It's not it. Here I was, a E6 medic, doing great things. At least I saw that as doing great things, taking care of my brothers and sisters in arms, and providing for them. I mean, even though we joke around with medics saying, all they want to do is just change socks and prescribe Motrin, and you're good to go, walk it off. So, but in the end, like, my whole calling was taking care of those guys, taking care of my people. As a paramedic, same thing, is taking care of my people, taking care of those that were part of my community. And now that I was just, part of me was feeling lost, and hearing my kids saying, Dad, you said you were going to be home more often, that starts messing with you and bothering you. And I'm going to work, and now I'm wondering, am I ever going to come home, or am I going to be stuck at work, or is a tree going to fall on me, or am I going to get stuck in a building that's on fire and not find my way out? And that starts to wear on you as a fireman. And so I took it to heart what my kids said, and then I came across this position with First Steps Recovery, and now I'm able to help in a way where others don't, and that's saying, hey, you need help. You need to help yourself. You got to find your way out, and I'm finding joy in that. But uh, my biggest joy is that I have time to be home with my family. I have time to be a dad. I'm being the dad that I want to be. I'm not worried that I'm going to get stuck in a house on fire, or I'm not going to come home because I'm downrange somewhere. So, but that's my story, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing what I do for First Steps. And but I appreciate you guys letting me into this and letting me be a part of this. This is very exciting. I'm glad I met Chris. Too bad he's not on. So, but next time.
We'll have to show him the recording.
Yeah.
Hutch, thank you so much for coming on and just sharing your story and sharing about your FSR. Do you find that your mental health is good now? Like, do you feel content? Or is your mind still kind of in a first responder veteran stage?
Like it's a funny feeling when you're out of the military or out of the fire service. You miss it, but and you would go back and do it, but at the same time, the things that you cherish tend to be more important. And so my mental health state, all the problems that I was facing before, they aren't there. Like those concerns aren't there, and I'm at peace. My wife is happy. My kids are happy. And I get to work from home now, and I do some business trips here and there. But if I'm on a business trip, sometimes I just take my wife along too. So it's like,
Great.
It's a win. It's a win-win. So
that's great. That's
yeah.
good to hear. And can you tell us some stories about people that have gone through your recovery, or they've been able to heal through FSR?
Yeah, definitely. So recently, I'll share some recent ones because I think these have been very exciting stories. I have a person from the military, and they just retired, and they were struggling with alcohol, and felt it was either between drinking themselves to death or grabbing the 45 and taking their life. And they were like, when I was on the phone with them, I could relate, and we related so much because we actually served in the same areas, Fort Hood, and we came out with the same MOS, which is 68 whiskey. And so both combat medics, and we were joking, but there was like a lot of emotion there too, because they just wanted help and they didn't know what to do. And now they're in the program, and I just went and saw them actually today, and they're thriving. They're just they told me, thank you. Thank you for being here through this process with us and getting me where I'm at. So and I said, of course, that's my job. Like I find joy in seeing people self-heal, and that there's nothing better than that. Another experience, like those spirit experiences, I have all the time. I just had a gentleman on the phone who's same situation as me, prior military. He was a Marine though, so we joked about that. And then but he's also a fireman, and he's struggling with um, cocaine and meth, and he's been in the hospital for 3 days, not 3 days, 3 weeks. And his wife and I talked first because he didn't have access to his phone, and she was just like, he finally wants to get help. So, And then she was like, oh, the fact that you're a fireman, oh, the fact that you have military, like you guys can talk and get along. And then come to find out, we actually know some of the same people. And I was able to see that change. And today he's going in for treatment, and through our program. And then I want to share one from like 3 months ago, um, which was this guy wanted to leave the program because he was just going through withdrawals. And he went to the hospital. We ended up sending him to the hospital, having the ambulance come out, pick him up. He was faking a seizure. So we took him in, had him at the hospital. He came back completely different after those 3 weeks in the hospital. Came back and was like, "No, okay, I want to do this." Completely different than what he was at first. He didn't even want to be there, and he wanted to leave. But then he realized whatever was going on, he needed to change. So he came back and he excelled. So I mean, there's all these success stories, and some of them are, one, it takes once. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 times until they have this success. So but I see, yeah, I'm just seeing it and sitting in on groups and hearing these stories of these veterans who are like, yeah, I was homeless and now I'm not. And through your program, I've been able to find housing. And through your program, because I had housing, I was able to find a job. And because I found a job, now my family's accepting me back and into their lives. And so, I mean, so many wonderful stories.
And that's amazing. Because I know, yeah, once people feel like they can have housing and they don't have to worry about things like that, and then to have a job. So you're really taking care of the hierarchy of needs, aren't you?
Yeah.
Tell us more about the program too. What is so special about it in your eyes, maybe even compared to other programs?
Sure. So First Steps Recovery has been around about 10 years, give or take. And when I was hired, they started this program specifically for veterans and first responders. And they asked me to do it because I'm a veteran and prior first responder. And then on top of that, I already had a background in financial planning. So I knew the the tactics of building those relationships and maintaining them. So through our program, we work closely with the VA. We work closely with fire departments and other first responder agencies. Currently, I'm working with the FBI. So I mean, these are not small, just small agencies, but big agencies too. For veterans, depending on where they're at and who we're working with. If you're active duty, we can detox. If you're a veteran going through the VA, then we don't detox, but we do bring in for our residential or intensive outpatient and PHP programs, or the housing. And then we offer a year of housing on top of that for the veterans who need that. They need the housing to get back up on their feet. Our staff, our detox and residential properties are fully staffed with medical. We have a doctor who lives on site. He's available Monday to Friday, all day, and then in the evenings by phone, and on weekends by phone. We have a RN, a nurse practitioner. We have 6 LVNs, 1 LPT, which is like an LVN, but they also have a background in psychology. And then we have social workers. We have 6 of those. We have 6 clinical therapists as well. And then our owners of the company are also all therapists. And so it's just they focus on substance abuse, but then secondly, we focus on PTSD and other traumas. For veterans and first responders, we offer what's called TMS, transmagnetical, I forget what the S stands for, but scoping, I believe. And then we offer brain spotting. We offer group therapy for them. as well as group therapy where their families come in with them, and then therapy just for their families or spouses, where they can come in and learn how to work through the traumas that they're going through or their addictions. And and then they get individual therapy sessions, a counselor who helps them with their bills or getting back on their feet, or whatever trials they might have on the outside of the
Wow.
world. So yeah.
And are you nationwide, or is it just one facility?
We are, well, we bring in individuals nationwide. So like the first patient that I shared, she's actually from North Carolina, and she came in from Fort Bragg, and that was towards the end of her retirement. And then we have some that have come in from Fort Drum. We've had we're working with Chicago VA and El Paso VA and Florida, and just anywhere that we can to let them know, hey, we have a program here specifically for veterans and for first responders. Like I'm working with Las Vegas Metro PD. I working with the U.S. Marshals. I'm working with the FBI. So, yeah, we're nationwide, and anyone that we can reach and let them know that we have this program here. I, that's what I'm doing. So,
That's very impressive. That's a lot of care. It just seems like
yeah,
you really do hit it at all angles. I'm surprised I haven't heard of it. So that's why it's so nice to have you come on and share about it. Because that's a big deal to give people a year. That's a
right.
big deal. Wow.
Yeah, it's unheard of. So I mean, most places don't offer the free housing up to a year. They don't offer the TMS or the brain spotting or all the different therapies that we do. So I mean, we have eCline, we have ones that everyone else might have, but the TMS, the EMDR,
Wow.
the brain spotting, the different group breakouts, and we're gender specific. So we have a detox facility just for females and just for males, and all the way back. So,
And you work with the families too.
and we're working with the families.
Fantastic. And if somebody is interested in your program, how can they find you?
They can look up online www.firststepsrecovery.com. That will take you right to our homepage. You can also find me on LinkedIn, and we do have flyers. We work closely with the vet centers and police departments, fire departments. So I'm constantly handing out to their peer support groups our flyers, my contact information, and I'll post my information into the chat here too. So
Okay, excellent. Well, listen, I really appreciate you sharing all that and coming on. I'm going to pause it right now so people feel free to have the conversation. And then we might record some people's comments and questions. So thanks again, Hutch.
I think it's awesome what you're doing. I actually looked at this website and I think it's amazing. I definitely want to use it as a resource because, I've been working with veterans and essential personnel for 7 years, and they go through this whole, super long modality of week. And after that, there's still a lot of people that struggle with PTSD. There's people that still struggle with codependency, and those two are really intertwined. And because of that, they struggle with addictions. And there's a ton of variety of different addictions out there that people will still struggle with. And so I'm definitely appreciate you sharing your gifts and your talents and using this as a resource. I know you said that you actually have a facility in California, but do you like coordinate with other facilities, other places in the United States, or can you kind of talk about that just a little bit more?
yeah, so I do have relationships with other facilities. So we don't see ourselves as like the only ones that are going to be able to fix all the problems. There are other facilities out there that might be better for the first responder or veteran. So I do have contacts, and if I don't have the best contact, then the contacts I have might have someone else in mind. So, but we're looking to expand as well nationwide. So.
Okay. It's just, the people I've connected with are all over the United States, from Alaska to East Coast to West Coast. And, there are a few out in California, but I know that this is still a struggle for a lot of people that have PTSD and a lot of veterans and essential people, especially during COVID. I don't know if you know the statistics, but it's kind of astonishing how many more first responders have been consuming alcohol just because of the additional stress and the anxiety and everything that's put upon them. So once again, I'm definitely going to connect with you and keep you as a resource, and hopefully that, we can help tend the mind, body, and soul to a lot of these people in our community that need this help, and that they're not afraid to ask for help. And I think that's one of the most important keys and elements, is that we offer a space where they can really be vulnerable, raw, authentic, and real, and they understand that we're here to support them. So thank you once again for everything you do, brother. I appreciate you.
All right, appreciate you.
That's great. And Carrie, do you want to just say, did you talk about Warriors Ascent? Did you say the name just in case people are watching?
No, I didn't. So if anybody, I'm like a life coach for Warriors Ascent, and it really is, to me, one of the most amazing opportunities for me. I just had one a couple of weeks ago when 3 guys came up and said, you saved my life. And I hear this every single time I do this, that, somebody, if this program didn't work for them, that they were going to kill themselves. And so if anybody's interested, we do it 6 times a year. It's in Kansas City. If you're a veteran, your flight's covered. Otherwise, other people have to pay for their flight. But it's just, if you go to warriorsascent.org, and you can go to that, check it out, and you can apply. And it definitely provides a lot of modalities, because all my life coaching, I offer there, almost every single one of them. So we can talk about sleep and exercise and healthy boundaries and turning conflict into intimacy and all those talks. What does self-care really mean? Right. And all that stuff. So I'll put it in the chat. Oh, Daniel did it. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it. So.
Yeah, somebody who benefited a lot from Warriors Ascent. So thank you, Daniel.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carrie.
Thanks, Sara.
It seems like a great synergy between what Hutch does and his organization and you. So thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah, I feel that everything's serendipitous, and I think there's a reason we connected tonight, brother, because I've got a brother right now that's struggling. And so, I believe that you're going to be able to help transform and take people to a different level. So thank you so much.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much, Carrie. Paul, would you like me to pause?
Oh, yeah, you did.
And make sure.
Sure. Hutch, thank you for your presentation. May I ask where in California you're located? Are you in Northern California or Southern California? Or?
Yeah, we're in Central California. So we're in Clovis, California, going into the Sierra Nevadas. So about an hour and a half from Yosemite, 3 hours from LA, 3 hours from San Francisco.
I know where Clovis is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you find any situations where you have people come to you who are resistant to the point of being abrasive, and do you have a modality for handling that? And I ask that because we've heard that in other instances, and not all of them have been successful.
So we do. We have the staff that can do it, and then it's also a case by case too. Like what can we handle? But also we do take a lot of individuals in that that fall into that category, because we see that they are individuals that want to get help, and that any type of help's better than no help. That's the way we see it. So
it does seem like, with recovery.
Are you familiar with 22-0?
I'm not. 22-0.
Yeah.
Come to the right place.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got a few people actually.
I was going to say, you're going to be.
I was thinking too, Hutch, I know that like with recovery, sometimes there's just so much wisdom that comes with people relapsing. And they definitely help other people too with the whys, like why it's important to take certain things seriously when maybe they want to blow off some of the steps or something, right? I mean, it's
Right.
yeah, sometimes it's just a process, isn't it? It's a tough thing for people to overcome.
Exactly. And we see them, like I said, we can see it happen, them want to succeed in a year or so, or it could be 5 years from now, but it's ultimately it's their choice, what they want to do. Do they want to work for it? And example, I just got off a phone with a veteran right before this, and he knows he needs help, but he's so frustrated with the VA. And God forbid, I totally understand that, because I get frustrated with the VA myself. So anyways, I told him though, like, he's got to go in and get the help. Then we can come in and assist, because we can't detox veterans going through the VA, because Tri-West doesn't let us do that. Why, I don't know, but they don't. So they have to go through the VA for detox, and then those veterans can come to us. Active duty, they can do, and retired, they can come straight to us for detox and go through all these programs. And guys are frustrated with that, and I I totally understand. Like, my dad passed away 2 years ago, and I was frustrated with VA too, because they could have done things, rather than putting him on the list to another list. They could have taken care of everything that he needed like 5 years prior to him passing away, but they waited, and which ultimately ended up killing him. So, um, frustrations come, but we just work through it, embrace that suck, and hopefully we can see these guys get in for treatment wherever that might be.
I'm sorry that happened to your dad, and I appreciate the fact that you're taking that wound and being part of the solution.
Yeah.
It's such a big problem, and I appreciate what you're doing. Paul, did you have more to add?
Yeah, just two more things.
Yeah.
The first is, Hutch, if you would be willing to send a copy of your brochure as a PDF file, we can print them locally, and
Sure.
there's no postage involved, and we can hand them out to people. And I would certainly be happy to do that. I'm in and out of the VA all the time, not because I enjoy it, but and the last thing I wanted to share with you is that I truly appreciate the authenticity with which you do your presentation. And you went through a lot, and you had your difficulties, but if we want to have a testimony, we have to have a test.
True.
There it is. So anyway, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Paul. And then Natalie and Chris, please let me know if you want me to pause.
Yeah, we're good.
You're good? Okay.
Yeah, I don't care. You know me. So hey, appreciate you being here, man. Thanks for being vulnerable for us. I know it's not always an easy thing, but sounds like you're doing well now, and that makes me so happy. So so Natalie and I tour a lot over the country and stuff like that. And what I'd like to do, if I can, is very much I care, I'd like to use you as a resource, if with your permission, of course. My question for you though is, because cops, generally, that's why I talk to you mostly, they tend to be a little bit cynical and skeptical. And some of the kinds of questions they're going to ask me are, what are the protocols and what are the requirements for me to get into this program?
Yeah. So with police, so I'm working with, I work highly with a lot of departments here in California and Nevada. But it's based off of the insurance. So what insurance you have, we verify it. We verify those benefits, I should say. We verify how much that will cost you as the officer. And then, is it reasonable for you? Are we the best fit? Or is there another program that's better fit for you? So we'll work and find the best place for you, because perhaps we can't take the insurance because it's not feasible, where it's going to cost too much out of pocket. If that does that make sense? That's just how insurance is. So we look at all those things, and we're trying to do what's right for people. We don't want to put anyone out of home, like we want to keep everyone, like, you don't need one stress to come to another stress. so we avoid that.
Cool. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
I wonder too if the place you're talking about, there's a Dr. Odom who is in I think it's in Orange County, that I think they're doing a great job with more first responders in recovery. So
it could be this one. This was SoCal Detox.
SoCal Detox. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I could put it in there, but I'm unsure of the name. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Great question, Chris. Chris Gregorio.
Hey man, thanks again for being here. First statement is, unlike so many of these other treatment places, what I see is the absolute compassion and stuff that you have for the people, especially when you're talking about the resources. Some people are just very clear about it, and if we can't do it, maybe there's something better for you. Not everywhere it's like that. So thank you for that. What I'd like to question you on, and this is kind of for everybody as we go forward, in the first responder world with firefighters and law enforcement, we now know that there's such a great chance you're going to be deeply impacted, you and your families, by these careers. There's almost a 0% chance that you don't have PTSD from this service. Now, the military, although they're not great, there is a compensation route for that, through disability and things like that. My question to you is, through your work with these first responder organizations, is there a push? Because the way I look at that, the reason the military does that is because there's culpability. They know that you're going to get messed up, screwed up from serving, especially the last 20 some odd years with all the wars. For everybody concerned and that's listening to this, we have to figure out a way, in my opinion, for, I'm very big on accountability. We have to be accountable for our actions, and whether that's the risky behaviors that we do, that we partake in with drugs and alcohol and sex and crazy behaviors, we have to be accountable for that. But there's also accountability that has to be accounted for the organizations in which we work with, because it's from that service that many of these people are put into positions where there's not enough support, and they feel that they have to find out other places. As we're sitting here trying to change the culture of law enforcement and military, that it's okay to have these conversations. And that's what I love about this group, is that everybody's so selfless and courageous with the amount of sharing that they do, because it still comes at a cost. What, and if not at all, push do you have for accountability of these organizations? I guess is where I'm kind of going with that. Sorry for the long-winded question.
So what I'm gathering is, how do we hold them accountable for their own people in getting into treatment? And I'm assuming that's kind of where you're going with it, right? And
Sure.
Okay. So just a quick story. So I had a fire chief who was ready to take his life, alcohol, losing his family, losing his, on the verge of divorce. Went up to the head honchos at CalFire, told him what he thought, and then was given the ultimatum, like, you need to quit or keep your mouth shut. Like, we aren't going to talk about this stuff where there's problems with our firemen having PTSD or troubles at home. Like, that stuff doesn't matter. Push it down, suck it up, and get the work. So working with the departments that I am, they're starting to have peer groups. Those peer support groups are saying, if you have problems, come to us and we'll help you out. In the law enforcement world, right? Like I have four brothers who are cops, two who are Las Vegas Metro PD. Actually, one when the 50 were shot at Mandalay Bay, my one brother was the one on the radio instantly saying shots fired at Mandalay Bay. Now his voice is known across the nation, right? So they all struggle with PTSD. I have a brother who's California DOJ and a brother who's a Fresno, California PD. So like they all struggle too. But within that, there's peer support groups, and those peer support groups are there for us to go to and say, hey, how can we get help and take care of my problems that are going on? And that's kind of where that accountability is coming. I'm stepping in and I'm working with them, saying every week, every day. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I send out to those peer support groups bed availabilities. That way they know I have room to staff a first responder. I have room to staff a veteran and bring them in for treatment. But in the end, it's up to them to say, yeah, okay, we have someone, let's get them in, let's send them here, but then again, that's up to the individual, because we can't force anyone to change. But that's how I'm holding them accountable.
Sure. And thank you for that. And I think that that's part of the accountability process for their culpability. But I think in the first responder world, and it's obviously going to be done state by state, but for these things, some sort of disability things that you still have access to, psychiatrists and even financial compensation on top of your retirement when you're done. Thanks again, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, Chris. And Michelle.
Sarah, do you mind if we pause the recording?
Yes.
Thank you.
So 220 is an organization that will treat veterans, first responders, and their families without cost. And this organization has developed therapies that are revolutionary and life-changing. The trauma resiliency protocol and the emotions management process are effective. They are effective quickly. And the person that we take through those protocols does not need to relive and retell the traumatic experiences that they went through. Now, I went through EMDR therapy, and while it was effective, the process of reliving those traumatic events as part of that therapy was traumatic in and of itself. And TRP and EMP are therapies that it's not talk therapy. You do not relive those events when you're going through it. If you want to look up the basis for this, it's modeled after visual kinesthetic dissociation, VKD. And it is effective. We have three of us here tonight that are from 220. Paul and I are both trauma resiliency peer coaches. Trisha is our social worker. It works extremely well, and it works extremely fast. And we would be absolutely thrilled to partner with you. It's done via telehealth, so we can put people through the process right there from your facility if there's a private space to do it in. So I highly recommend that you get together, connect with me on LinkedIn. or connect with Trish or Paul, and we will get you connected with Dr. Arnell and Dan Jarvis and Nick, and we can partner up. I get the feeling that this organization is going to be absolutely exploding in the next 6 months, but they're training more and more coaches all the time, and we are dedicated to getting people into the program and treating them immediately. It's not like the VA where you're sitting around waiting to sit around. When you contact 220, you're connected with a coach and you're going through the protocol extremely fast. So highly recommend that you hook up with us and make us a partner in treating and recovering these guys.
Fantastic.
All right. Great share. So Natalie or Chris?
It's me again. Hi guys. Tricia, my apologies. I'm going to jump in because I know you've got a better speech than I do probably. However, now that we need
Todd is a great spokesperson. I don't have to do a thing.
not that we need to sell 220 to you, but I just got to share a small experience I had with those guys. 37 years of something I was hanging on to that I had no idea. And these guys walked me off the ledge and I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was like, and I thought I was pretty squared away after all the stuff I've been through. And I thought that I had been living a really good life, and I was, don't get me wrong, but something from my childhood was still lingering. And Dan called me personally, hooked me up, and it was like, what happened here? I mean, it was unbelievable. So I get pretty excited when I tell that story. So anyway, that's my 2 cents about it. So
thank you for sharing.
That's really cool, Chris. Thanks for sharing. Okay, one last question, Paul.
Yes, Hutch, you may also want to look at neuro-linguistic programming, which is part of the methodology that is used in the transition through the TRP and EMP process. And I have experienced it personally, and decided to become a coach because it really works. It works quickly. And the best reference I have is the pleasure that my wife sees in being with me. And she noticed it even before I did. Which probably means I'm just dense, but that's what happened.
That's good. Paul, thanks for sharing.
Sure.
You know, a wife will always know, right? That's the best advertisement. That's great. Well, Hutch, what a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for sharing. And do you have anything that you want us to walk away with?
You know, I'm grateful that I was able to be here and to hear your guys' stories, to hear everyone's stories about 220. I think that's fantastic. I look forward to getting to know everyone here more personally and reaching out and working together. And I appreciate what everyone does here. I mean, I heard about the group and I didn't realize how fabulous it is, but now I know. So this is great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so glad you're on, and you know that you are welcome anytime. You're part of the tribe now. So
Great.
thanks again, Hutch.